God created moms and dads and families. That's his heart. And the devil would like to destroy that. And he's doing a really good job. And we have to stop that, right? Abortion is at crazy levels. In San Antonio, we'll probably do 7,000, 7,500 abortions just in San Antonio. We are here to combat that. We are here to let our women know there are better choices for them. I didn't anticipate talking to you about that today. I asked God what he wanted me to share with you, what was on his heart, and I thought he would say something really flowery and wonderful and feminine and all of that, and that's not what he gave me at all. I don't always talk about this, but lately it's been a hot topic. And so I'm going to talk to you about sex. I'm going to talk to you about sex and your children and what you need to do to help them. I'm a grandmother. I'm a mother. I've got a 13-year-old granddaughter. God help me and pray for me every single day. She is in Washington State and going through a tough time. I'm just going to be real honest. She's going through a tough time. But we're standing strong for her. And we're guiding her, and we're doing what we can to let her know what God's best is for her. And then I have 3 grandsons, and they're all awesome. My granddaughter's awesome, too, but just that age, that 13-year-old age, is really difficult. So I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version of some information that I personally wished I had known when I was much younger, because I could have made way better choices in my life. I have enough information to probably keep you mesmerized for the next 2 hours, but that's okay. If you don't hear anything else today, from all of us that are speaking to you, hear this one thing. The enemy wants your kids. And your number one job as the mom is to not let him have them. Okay? So we're going to help you do that. One of the toughest things that we have to deal with as moms and grandmoms is how to keep our kids on the right path sexually so they don't end up in my clinic. So what are you doing? How are you preparing your kids to face that, what Janet just talked about? What are we doing to face that? You know, the world's view of free love is sex without consequences. And they start our kids really early in school now, teaching them all about their body parts and what feels good and all of this. And they're told that they should be able to do anything that they want to. Sexy is fun. It's expected. It's what they're being told. You don't believe me? Turn on the TV. Look at the commercials and watch the cartoons. Sex sells. Every sitcom and every program out there has a sexual connotation to it. Every single one. It's everywhere. Even our cosmetics have sexy names. Really? I mean, seriously, that's the truth. And if your kids go to public school, they're being taught things that would make a sailor blush. They're being taught that it's their body and they can do whatever they want to, and they should and can do anything that feels good, and that there aren't any consequences for their actions until they come to my clinic. Then there are big consequences. Big. So what can we do to prepare our kids for the onslaught of wrong and immoral messages that they are hearing? We know that God tells us that sex is reserved for marriage between, and I have to say this, between one biological man and one biological woman. A few years ago, that would have been crazy to have to boil it down to that, but that's what God tells us. So, is God trying to spoil our fun and ruin our weekend? No, he's not. He's trying to keep us from a life of misery and broken hearts and regrets. Hosea 4:6 says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge." And this verse is never so true as it is when it comes to teaching our kids about sex. First, you need to understand the biology behind sex. You'd think they would teach you this in school, but they don't. What actually happens when you have sex? Sex releases endorphins in your brain, okay? And endorphins create euphoria. We all want to feel that joy and that happiness, right? Chocolate produces endorphins, and any woman in this room would kill for a piece of good chocolate. I'm just telling you. It's the high that's created by the hormone oxytocin in women that gives her the feeling of euphoria, joy, and happiness when you have sex. It's what makes sex so attractive. I say it's a drug on a whole nother level. Did you know that oxytocin is what a woman produces as she gives birth, as she nurses her baby? It's the bonding hormone that happens for that mom. For men, it's vasopressin. That hormone bonds the man to his wife. It also instills the protective instinct in him so that he will protect his wife and his child. So what do you think happens when there's sex without a commitment or a lifelong bonding? What do you think happens when people go from one sexual partner to another? Our kids are told this is freedom, it's just sex. But I'm here to tell you it's slavery in its greatest form. Every time someone has sex outside of God's plan and purpose, which is marriage, it chips away at who they are, little by little by little, until they have nothing left. They have loneliness, emptiness, and anger. And that's even if they don't have an unplanned pregnancy or get a disease. We have something at our clinic, and I brought some papers with me today if you're interested in it, but we have a paper called Duct Tape and Dating. And Elisa is really good on my staff to do a demonstration, and if we'd had more time today, I certainly would have done it for you. But here's what happens. We take a piece of duct tape into the counseling room with our patients, and you put it on, and then you rip it off, and it hurts, right? So then we put it on again, and we rip it off, and it doesn't hurt quite so much. We put it on again, and about the third time, it's not sticky anymore. It's losing its bonding effect. Are you getting it yet? That's what happens when you have sex outside of God's plan. You lose the ability to bond, which affects our marriages and our families and our future. Pretty soon you aren't able to bond at all, and then there's this whole try before you buy thing, right? We're just going to live together. We're going to see how it works out. See if marriage is right for us. Except that research show that people who cohabitate together have the largest chance, the greater risk of being divorced than people who embrace abstinence until they say I do, when the deal is signed, sealed, and delivered, right? Why is this? We women, we need to know that we are loved and cherished and respected and honored, that we're not just a sex object. Men need to know that they are respected for who they are and not just their performance in the bedroom. And let's face it, marriage is so much more than sex. So much more than sex. What we need to teach our kids is that they need to take time to really get to know someone. They need to know if they're compatible. What are their likes, their dislikes? What's their favorite color? What's their favorite food? What are their hobbies? What are their dreams for the future? You know, I don't really know how this happened, but we used to date. You know, you go out to dinner and a movie and you go home to see if you could find a mate that you wanted to get married. Now people hook up, and it's costing us, all of us, it's costing us greatly. And our girls, they're told that they're not girls, they're boys. And our boys think that it's bad to be manly and treat a woman with gentleness and loving kindness. Not to mention STDs. In San Antonio, We see a lot of them. We are at epidemic levels here. Syphilis is higher than it's been in decades, and chlamydia and gonorrhea are off the charts. And we do that at our clinic. We test and treat for STDs. Both men and women come to us for services, and we see a lot. We work directly with our health department because we can't keep this under control. It's very difficult. So, yeah, a shot of penicillin and a couple of doses of antibiotics might cure most diseases, but what's left behind for these kids is infertility, scarring, raw emotions that you just can't cover up with a Band-Aid. Sex is not just sex, it's so much more. God created it that way, something sacred and holy to be enjoyed for a lifetime of love between one man and one woman in a marriage where there is safety and commitment and honor. So what happened? Remember when TV was safe for our kids to watch? My daughter's 41, and it was pretty safe when she was a kid. Remember when Disney was family friendly? Now Disney's promoting abortion and homosexual behavior. What happened to Mickey Mouse and princesses who waited for Prince Charming? I mean, seriously, what is going on here? So what do? Have we waited too long to change the direction that we're going? Can we make a change for the better? I say we can. We can fight for our families. Moms, you have the ability to change what goes on in your house. And if it changes in your house, it changes in your community. And if it changes in your community, it changes in your city. And if it changes in your city, it changes in your state. And guess where that goes? We can do this. Remember, with God, all things are possible. But we have to fight. We have to fight for our children and our families. We must teach our kids the truth about sex and relationship. We must. We are moms. We must tell them the truth. We have to be brave enough to take on the topic and then see it through. Like what Amy said, you can't just scroll through it and say, oh, that's terrible, and scroll through it. You got to deal with this. Because we're where we are, we're here because we've stayed silent too long. As Christians, as the church, let alone as moms, we have stayed silent. When they legalized abortion, we said nothing. That was the beginning. When couples started living together, we were silent. Even in our churches, where we had God's regulations. We stood in disbelief when they started having gay pride and parades to celebrate homosexuality. We sat there with our mouths open, but we did nothing. And just a few years ago, we were horrified when our Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage. How much longer are we going to stand by and let the devil take away everything that we hold dear and that we love? I say it's time. No, it's past time. And we stand up and we stop being politically correct and we started acting godly correct. Amen? Our future and our children's future depend on it. We still have time to make a difference, and God is still alive and active and powerful. He's just looking for a few good women to stand up and bring back righteousness to our families. Kimberly stole my line. Remember, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. You have a great influence over your family. Teach your kids that it's actually okay to say, I'll wait. I'm worth it. One of the things that I love to tell our people, because when they come into the clinic, we talk to them about this. We're very honest with our patients because most of them have never had a mom and they don't have dads when they come in. And they are rock bottom and they need to hear the truth. They need to know that they are precious to God. So we tell them about God's plan for them. We tell them that it's okay for them to say no and to believe that they're worth it. And I like to tell them, you are a daughter of the Most High God. Straighten your crown and remember who you belong to. Thank you.